Welcome to the Build Your Coaching Business Around the 9 to 5 podcast. I'm your coach, Pamella Pritchard, and I help you go from employee to business owner. Whether you're creating your first client or learning how to create clients on repeat whilst holding down your day job, I'll help you make your business dreams a reality. Let's begin. Commitment, consistency, courage, confidence, and curiosity. These are the 5 qualities that I'm going to speak about in today's podcast, because over the last 5 years, as I've been building my business and supporting other soul-led coaches to do the same, I have seen these 5 qualities come up time and time again as being some of the core qualities that need to be developed and worked on if you're going to grow your business to the level where you can go and stay full-time in your coaching business and see this through as the career path. And let's be honest, it's more than just a career path, as the purpose that you are destined for. When I met with a life coach a couple of years ago, and I asked her what it is that she wants from her business and her life in taking this journey into becoming a life coaching business owner, she said something to me that has stayed with me because it resonated so deeply to my soul. And I know if you're listening to this podcast and you like my work and you like what I'm about, and especially if you're an existing client or you know that you're going to be a client in the near future, then this will resonate with you too. She said, building this coaching business isn't just about the money, the clients, the impact even. It's actually about who I get to become. It's about me finding myself, finding my best self, being the best that I could possibly be, stepping into my power, stepping into my capability, and realizing for myself, for this one precious life that I get to have on this earth, to actually be everything that I know I'm capable of. And I'll be honest, I paraphrased, but my God, the essence of what she was saying spoke to my soul, because all of the coaches that I work with resonate with this philosophy. They're not just in this because they want to work for themselves and they don't want to have to go to a day job and answer to someone else. And don't get me wrong, there's no shade if that's why you pursued it in the first place. I know that was certainly the case for me. For many of my clients, they went through burnout and or close to it, or they just started questioning, like, is this it? Is this everything that I'm working towards? Especially for my clients who have come from really established careers, and it really was everything they were working towards for so long. And then one day, life just nudged them on the shoulder and said, wait a minute, there's more. And so this episode is especially for you if this speaks to your soul, because these qualities are not just things that you get to say that you do, that get to be empowering words that you put on an Instagram post like I did a couple of days ago where I first shared this concept. But as I was writing it, I felt my frequency rise. I felt the resonance in my bones, because the truth is, when you fully embody these things that I'm about to share with you and these qualities that I support my clients to build and that I work on day in, day out to cultivate and master in my own business, that, from a mindset and energetics perspective, is the key to making this work, to seeing it through, to reaching the next goal, and then the next goal, and then the next goal. Because your goal right now might be just to sign a client and prove to yourself that you can. And if you've done that, it might be to prove to yourself that you can do it over and over and over again. And then once you start doing that a little bit more consistently, for you, it might be, okay, now I really get to see if I can replace my salary, if I can go full-time in my business, if I can make this something that's life-giving, to support my life, to not just pay my bills, but to live life to the fullest and do everything I want to do with this one precious life, to make the impact that I know that I can make, to help the people that I know I'm here to help. And then when you start to recognize that that is something that you get to live and breathe every day, then it's okay, how do I reach more people? How do I do this and create a lifestyle of my dreams? How do I do this and start to dream bigger than I've ever dared to dream before? That's the stage that I'm at. Everything that I once wanted when I was working in that London office, daydreaming about traveling to Australia, daydreaming about being my own boss, daydreaming about working for myself, daydreaming about signing clients and having people tell me that they see me as someone that they want to work with. Once upon a time, that blew my mind. Now, I don't take that for granted, but I do take it as a baseline. For me, that's now a standard I hold myself to. When I show up for you, I do that in full recognition that I have earned my stripes to be someone that's worthy of being someone that you seek out to work with. I saw a post on LinkedIn earlier and it was talking about role models. And I remember saying to a friend not that long ago that when I was a teenager, and this would have been in the noughties, I didn't have a role model. And I remember being asked if I had a role model all the time by my teachers, and especially for university applications. Like, this is the kind of thing that you might draw from. I was asked, who is your role model? Who do you look up to? Who do you aspire to be like? What excites you? Who excites you? And there was nobody. This was coming from the years of like Cosmopolitan magazine. I have no idea if that's still even in circulation, where the newspaper was your main form of communication, where you'd have to watch the 6 p.m. news to find out what was going on, where celebrities, where pop stars, where those kind of people were seen for their fashion, for their looks, where they were judged by who they were dating and what outings they were doing. The truth is, when I was asked the question about role models, there really was no one that I looked up to. There were stars that I admired and that I enjoyed, but I've never felt the resonance of having a role model of someone who I aspired to be like. And now I surround myself with them. Now I look around me and I can confidently say that I have so many beautiful role models that I look up to. And it blows my mind how society has changed. And it blows my mind how much access to support has changed and how much the conversation has shifted. That makes me so happy. And to recognize that I'm now in a position where I get to be that for my clients, it does blow my mind, but it is a position of responsibility that I take seriously. And when I work with my clients and they are in the first kind of 50K of business, still kind of proving to themselves that this is possible for themselves, what I notice is missing is that they are not recognizing themselves as somebody who your clients are aspiring to be like. And I want you to take a moment just to consider that that is who you are to some people, that every time a client has signed with you, even when it's been free or paid or a barter exchange, that they have agreed to give you access to their innermost world, to their innermost thoughts. They have agreed to give you permission to look at the way that they are experiencing their one precious life and to provide them not only the tools, the philosophy, the perspective, but also you being in the embodiment as somebody that they will entrust and look to for support and guidance. And if you took that as seriously as you should, dare I say the should word, but I just did. If you took that as seriously as you should, you may recognize just how important it is when you show up for your business. When you show up from the frequency of recognizing how special that is, of how important that is, of how much that matters. And maybe your marketing and the frequency in which you market and sell and try and create clients would shift slightly. Because so often I speak to coaches and they tell me that they're putting in the reps, they're putting in the effort, they're buying the programs, they've joined the courses, they've even had coaches in the past, that they show up, they create content. They're putting the effort into learning their messaging, learning how to use Canva, learning how to create beautiful things. But when they actually release it out into the world, they don't have the frequency of, I am a role model. I am someone who matters. I am someone of influence to my clients. I am someone that my clients are looking towards as a role model for what is possible for them. Because if you did show up with that frequency, with that sense of grounded certainty and confidence and commitment to your goals, your commitment to the change that you want to be for yourself and for your clients, I highly suspect that the potency of your message would drastically increase. And so, as I think about the qualities that are missing with so many coaches, these are the qualities that I identified. And I'll repeat them again. I said them earlier. They are commitment, consistency, confidence, courage, and curiosity. So let's dive into these 5 qualities. Number 1 is commitment. I spoke to that just now. One thing that always intrigues me when I work with clients who are newer in their business, and even some who have made a little bit of money and want to make more money and do it a little bit more consistently and a little bit more not by fluke, then this is one thing that they often say to me. They say, oh gosh, it's getting serious. Oh gosh, my business is getting really serious now. And I'm thinking, I love you, but why was it not serious before? And I say this with love, but it shouldn't take you spending a few K in a one-to-one coach who really holds you to the standard. Or maybe it is, hey, maybe this is exactly the point, right? But the way I approached my business from day dot, and possibly the reason why I started making money, even though, hands up, it wasn't fully consistent, it wouldn't always feel easy, I didn't always feel like I knew what I was doing. When I look at the results and the money that I literally made in my business, I took it seriously. I went into this knowing full well I was going to have to develop my business acumen. I went into this knowing full well I was going to have to show up. I went into this knowing full well that there was a part of this that probably would require a high level of visibility and probably on social media. And there was a part of me that really looked forward to it, that was quite excited by that notion. And I don't see enough of you commit to that and recognize that that's kind of what you signed up for. And you're too intelligent to pretend that you didn't realize that. Now, the extent to which you recognize that, I acknowledge, varies from person to person. And I recognize as well that because I did a business degree, because I've always been business minded, because I've always been in revenue generating roles, this might be a business privilege that I have, that I recognize that not everybody has, especially if your career didn't have anything to do with being business facing, revenue facing, client facing. If you were very much just customer orientated, where everything was, there was no kind of money exchange or any kind of target sales KPIs. If you didn't have anything like that and you didn't study business, then I 100% release you of that awareness, because I recognize that that might not have been a natural part of your career. But the truth is, for the clients who have come from some kind of marketing, sales, business development, client retention, client satisfaction, who all have any aspect of that in their roles, they knew this going into it. And so I want to challenge you. This isn't about making you feel bad. This is 100% an invitation for you to draw a line in the sand and decide that, okay, yeah, Secretly, I knew this. Secretly, I'm going to stop pretending that I'm really, really gutted that this is part of building a coaching business. How often I speak to coaches who say to me, I wish I could just coach all day and I wouldn't have to do any of this marketing stuff. I wish I didn't have to sell. I wish I didn't have to show up and get visible. Every single day that you allow that narrative to be your truth, you are not going to be making the money and the clients that you are capable of. And I say this because I know that you are capable of it. I highly suspect there was a part of you that went into this knowing full well this was part of the deal. I want you to lean in. I want you to feel whatever discomfort you're feeling right now, let it be there, and say to yourself, now I am moving forward. I am embracing this. For those of you who are aware of existential kink, and who are aware of shadow work, I am asking you to lean into the shadow. I'm asking you to lean into the existential kink of this is a side of business that you have possibly been denying yourself this entire time. And it is time to lean in and embrace it. Commit to what you signed up for. Commit to what it's going to take to build this business, and allow yourself to be the businesswoman who goes for it, who recognizing that if you're going to be the coach that your clients aspire towards, if you're going to be the coach of choice, if you're going to be the coach that your clients seek out, who they put on their vision board, who they say to you, I want to work with you and I am literally finding the money to do it. As soon as I can, I'm in. As soon as I'm done with my current one-to-one coach, I know that this is the container for me. Or even I already have a one-to-one coach. I already have group coaching. I'm already in masterminds. I've already forked out money to be in the containers and to learn. And I know in my bones that all of that was preparing me to be here, to be ready, to go all in, to hire and invest in you because you're going to get me to the next level. And if you don't recognize yourself in that level of personal power, of that level of leadership, of that level of self-commitment to what this actually is asking of you, then of course you're not creating the clients that you could be. And I don't want you to be afraid of that anymore. I don't want you to be mad at yourself about that anymore. I don't want you to keep the narrative that you secretly don't want this anymore. Lean into the shadow. Lean into the part of you that is afraid to enjoy this. Because for every single obstacle that you have in your business, that every single reason that you think it isn't working, they are the exact things that when we work together one-to-one, we are going to be overcoming. That thing you say when, oh, the algorithm is against me. I feel like I'm posting into the void. I feel like my 9 to 5 is stopping me from showing up as powerfully. I feel like I just don't have the energy to do this. I feel like I don't have the capacity to show up as powerfully as I want. I feel like I need to do more healing. I feel like I need to learn more about business. Great. Great. Every single obstacle that is in your way that you see as the problem is exactly the path that you need to be taking in order to get there. They're not in your way so that you can avoid it, divert from it, find something else, distract yourself with another program and go take another path and think, or maybe it was just the platform, or maybe it's actually, I just need to change my offer, or maybe it was that I have the wrong niche the whole time. They are all the thought errors that stop you from leaning into the obstacles and committing all in to facing every single obstacle that you think is in your way and recognizing that the obstacle is the way. That level of commitment makes you unstoppable. It makes you the coach of choice. Because when you then show up and you have overcome those obstacles and you show up with this level of conviction and commitment and power, that's when your clients go, or your soon to be clients go, wait a minute. Now that's what I'm talking about. They're not going to hire the coach who is angry at the system, at the matrix, because having a coaching business equals having to learn the business side of things. They're going to lean into the coach who showed up anyway. They're going to lean into the coach who figured it out. They're going to lean into the coach who took every obstacle that was in their way and overcame it, because that's what they're looking for when they're looking to hire their own coach. You're seeing now how there's no way around this. The only way is to commit. But every day you let those excuses get in the way, they become excuses instead of the way. Obstacles have two choices. You have two choices when you face an obstacle. You let them become an excuse, or you let them become the way. I'm inviting you to lean into allowing the obstacle to become the way. And the way that you do that is by leaning into your commitment to who you get to become, your commitment to your mission and vision, your commitment to your clients, your commitment to the version of you that went into this not fully knowing everything that it was going to take, but with enough hope and with enough determination to give it a go. That beginner energy, bring that back to the table. And if you're hearing this thinking, wow, okay, this was a wake-up call, then naturally come do this work with me. Because the reason you feel empowered right now is because you are in my energy. Because I am holding you to the level and to the standard that I know you're capable of, and that you know you're capable of, most importantly. And if it excites you and you feel the rise in your energy to be met at that level, then imagine what it's like when we hold that level consistently. Because here's the thing, over the next 6 months, you're not going to hold that level. You're not going to hold that level. And so this is where consistency comes in. Number 2, consistency. Because your ability to maintain consistency in terms of your output, regardless of how you're feeling internally, is going to determine your results. I don't need to spell it out to you to tell you that if you don't sell, then you won't sell. Like, it's almost too obvious. If you don't sell, then you won't sell. And in order to sell, you need to be selling consistently. In order to sell consistently, you need to sell consistently. Now, how do we navigate consistency, when we are naturally cyclical beings with busy lives, probably a 9-to-5, probably a family and kids, and if not kids, just a life and shit to do. And especially for those of you who don't have a 9-to-5, where you just enjoy being leisurely because you have the luxury of being leisurely. And ironically, that massively gets in your way of consistency. Like, honestly, I'm the queen of understanding that right now. Going from a 9-to-5 where you were like grateful for the few hours that you could get, to going from having all the time in the world and it taking all the time in the world and you wondering how you still run out of time. Trust me, I've seen it all, because I've also navigated it all. And being onto yourself and maintaining that level of consistency is a core skill. And for those of you with a cycle, which is the majority of my clients, go check out Selling with a Cycle. That was a previous episode that I did, because I speak to that, because recognizing that consistency looks a little bit different and there are so many nuances with consistency. And that consistency actually takes 2 forms. There is consistency in terms of staying as close to consistent as possible in terms of your outputs, what I just spoke to. And then there is consistency in what you stand for, what you're selling, and what you advocate for in terms of your core values, your philosophies, and your qualities, in terms of the message and the offers. What I see a lot with coaches is that you're just not consistent in terms of your output. Sometimes you're like full of declarations, full of posting, sometimes even 3 times a day, doing sales selling every week, showing up every day, and doing all the things that you say you will. And then you hit a slump. And then work gets busy. And then the kids get demanding, family is demanding, life is demanding. You come on, you get sick, you get ill. Next thing you know, you haven't sold for 2 weeks. Next thing you know, oh, it's been 5 days since I last posted. Oh, now I'm feeling the analysis paralysis and I don't know where to begin again. Oh, now I'm getting in my head. The perfection's creeping in. I'm not sure where to begin again. If this is happening to you, then I've got you. The key here is the consistency piece, making a commitment to consistency. And in so doing, increasing your capacity, increasing your nervous system's ability to create, even when, fill in the blank, even when you have excuses, even when the obstacle gets in the way. But then there is the consistency, the second piece that I was speaking to, in terms of your consistency with your offers and your messaging, your philosophies, your qualities, the things that you stand for. If you are changing your offer more than every 3 months, if you are changing your offer the minute that one of your free workshops didn't sell, if you're changing your offers the minute that you sold for a month and you did make the effort to be consistent and you didn't sell as much as you wanted to or at all, but you did go ham for leather, you updated your branding, you went for the photo shoot, you did the covers on your reels, you were really committed, you were really excited, you were really confident for a whole 2 weeks, and then it subsided. And then you're thinking, oh God, I need to change my offer. Oh God, the niche isn't quite right. Oh no, I need to change the branding. Oh no, I need to change the title. Oh no, I need to change the name. And you'll start looking at these superficial things. You're thinking, oh God, but I hate my bio. It needs to be updated. Or you start thinking, oh, but I always hated my brand colors. The whole time I always had an issue with the brand colors. That needs to be changing. You start going to all these distractions. You're getting busy being busy, and you're not actually doing what you need to do, which is to stay consistent, to hold the line. Let me give you an example of what this looks like when you do have consistency. I have been selling Thrive, my one-to-one program, for coming up to 3.5 years. I have had clients who have joined my program in the last couple of weeks who have said to me, I have been planning to join this program for 2 years. Can you imagine if I decided it wasn't working 2 years ago and I changed my mind? Can you imagine if I decided to change my niche and then the podcast changes and it's got a new title and I'm not talking about building your coaching business around the 9 to 5, or I give up on business coaching because I thought it was going to be easy because it's quantifiable and that's what everybody's doing. And then I realized it was actually way freaking harder than I thought. And oh, I'm going to go back to career coaching again. No, I chose something and I stuck to it. Even my first ever niche, career coaching, I stuck with the career change program, my legacy, my original signature program. I sold that for near 18 months. 18 months I sold that program exactly as it was, career change program. Yes, it evolved. Yes, the program itself developed. It grew with me. And then yes, I did make a change. And in that change, it was so fascinating. I had some quick wins, and then I had some wins that took some time to come through. And the interesting thing is that it would have been so easy to miss the quick wins if my mindset was always in this negative, oh God, it isn't working. It would have been easy to want to go back to career change. I remember having those moments where I thought to myself, God, what have I done? I thought business coaching would be easier. No, it's still the same challenge. I still have to have the business fundamentals. I still have to have my CEO embodiment. Changing niche does not make it easier. This is how I formed what I now deliver inside my Thrive program. It was consistency that has developed my mastery. For those of you who are inside Messaging Mastery, my core messaging program, the key thing with any kind of mastery program, not just mine, but any program that claims to give you mastery in a thing, you will not achieve mastery in a thing the first freaking time you do it. Like, guys, come on. Have you ever done anything one time and thought that you've become a master? No, of course you didn't. It was the consistency with the efforts that got you there. And this was actually a training within the program that I taught my clients. What I teach inside Messaging Mastery and inside Thrive in terms of each of the business fundamentals is that layer 1 is understanding the fundamental knowledge. Layer 2 is developing your conscious competence with it. You go from not even knowing what you don't know to knowing what you don't know to knowing what you know and knowing there's lots that you don't know, but developing your skill in it, and then to knowing everything you need to know and developing your mastery. And the true thing with mastery that I love about mastery when this landed for me is that mastery is an infinite game, which means consistency is an infinite game. And infinite game means the point is there is no end game. There is no end game with healing. There is no end game with self-actualization. There is no end game with fulfillment, with happiness, with success, with purpose, with all of these feelings that we are trying to seek. The irony is that we can never truly have it until we fully embrace being in it. And the irony with being fully in an emotion is that the present moment never ends. The present moment is an infinite game in and of itself. So if you can infinitely, in this present moment, choose to be empowered by your own evolution, to be empowered by your own self-actualization, to love where you're at, to be in celebration of where you're at, to grow consistently with every iteration of your evolution, that in and of itself becomes the consistency. That in and of itself creates the mastery. When you decide that what you have chosen, the niche you have landed on, the work that you want to do gets to be it because you decided it is, and you decide that you are committing to the consistency of that, and that it isn't about it working and you landing upon it, but you choosing something and then you consistently choosing it and committing to it over and over and over again until you develop mastery through your consistency, that's when you win. I never released my one-to-one program Thrive, and it worked immediately. I have grown to love it. I love the idea. And then when it didn't immediately make me riches, and it didn't immediately draw the crowds in, I chose to stick with it. I chose to be consistent with it. I chose to be consistent to the vision that I had when I first created it. In that commitment, I created mastery of my own program. Now, selling it feels effortless. Now, showing up for it feels effortless. And ironically, the output, the first type of consistency I was speaking about in terms of showing up and selling a thing, that becomes easier because it's easier to speak to a program that I know so intimately. What if you did that with your program? When my clients work with me one-to-one, this is exactly what I help them do with their ideas. I help them find the thing, define their offer, create an irresistible offer, and then commit to being consistent with it. And it doesn't mean we commit to something blindly. And if it really isn't working and it really isn't the thing, that we ignore the signs. But we don't jump ship just because it was a bad day. We stick with it. We stay the course, and that we recognize consistency is the path to success. And then a big part of that leads into number 3. It's confidence. Because what you're probably recognizing with commitment and consistency is that these things probably won't happen unless you have an intrinsic level of self-belief. And having an intrinsic level of self-belief, of the conviction that I was speaking of the commitment that I've referred to earlier, of the ability to stay consistent, to back yourself and say, no, this was a good idea. A big piece of the work that I do with my one-to-one clients, that even my clients who are highly successful in their careers, who display and seem to their loved ones and their friends and family as absolute superstars because you're getting out there, you're getting visible, you're doing incredible things, you run a household, you have a great career, you have a beautiful life, where you get portrayed as confident. And even to yourself, you like to think of yourself as confident. But intrinsically inside, if you're really honest with yourself, you actually have and you harbor a lot more self-doubt than you give yourself credit for, or that you dare to admit. Then that is affecting not only the volume of how much you show up, which is obviously impacts your consistency, but also impacts the potency in which you show up. It impacts the way that you show up and really own that you are the coach of choice. It's impacting the way that you show up with the level of conviction that you need to become that role model for your clients. And I see this a lot as well. I see lots of self-deprecating posts on Instagram. And it's such an interesting fine line. This whole piece around authenticity, vulnerability. And I definitely think I need to do a podcast on this one day about finding that balance of being authentic, being vulnerable, showing your struggles, and then actually just being in a place where you're just majorly wounded, where there are things that you need to heal, where there are things that actually you really need to work through, and just give yourself permission to say, look, I'm not there yet. And this is such a duality. And it's so interesting to see how it shows up with my clients, because I've had clients in the past who are more likely to lean into the mindset work than they are the strategic work. And they're more likely to lean into the narrative of, oh God, I need to heal this. Oh God, there's another block I need to work through. Oh gosh, there's another limiting belief that I have. And can we do the mindset work around that? And if you are very inclined to go down that path, if you are naturally, or you've become since finding spirituality and finding this personal development path, if you're very naturally inclined to go down the route of self-inquiry, instead of going down the route of where do I need to tactically, practically, and strategically troubleshoot in my business, then for you, you're almost using healing work against you. You're almost allowing yourself to spiritually bypass just getting stuck in and being willing to take messy action and, do the whole progress over perfection thing. And for some of my clients who aren't as inclined to do the inner work, who do enjoy taking messy action, who have no problem showing up, who are more inclined to be a little bit more techie and get a bit stuck behind the scenes and go down the perfectionist route with Canva and enjoy networking and enjoy getting stuck in with the learning and the growth mindset. For you might need to lean into the shadow work a bit more. You might need to lean into, oh, okay, this is in a child. Oh, okay, this is a bit deeper. So some of my clients are very inclined to go into the deep work instead of looking at the practical things and just committing to taking action. For the other clients, they are more inclined to take action. And if I say to them, should we do a re-imprinting exercise, or should we do some inner healing, or should we do some energetic work, or should we do some shadow work? They go, oh, no, I don't want to touch that stuff. Oh, I don't. I think people spend too much time in that and they don't get on with it. And I'm like, my love, you get on with it too. You get on with it so much that you're avoiding doing the inner work. So lovingly and gently be onto yourself. Recognize which way you naturally skew, and then give yourself permission to feel the discomfort of leaning in the other way and leaning into the work that you need to be doing. Okay. And this is one of the beauties of when my clients work with me inside one-to-one, is that inside Thrive, if you're wondering, we are very holistic with it. I'm very good at picking up when you are more inclined to do the inner work versus the action taking. And then those of you who prefer the action taking versus doing the inner work. So I'm very good at picking up which way we need to lean, because I know where I lean personally and I know where I have strength professionally. And the good thing is that gives me good balance, because I really am hot on the strategic piece. If we need to audit your website, if we need to audit your messaging, if we need to look at your offer creation, your pricing structure, the way that you're approaching sales calls and consult or managing client delivery, and if we need to jump into a re-imprinting or do some subconscious healing work or do some energetic work, or maybe for some of you, it's all of that. And you've never really laid out a clear vision. You've never really laid out your mission. You've never really laid out your goals, your desires, your wants, your needs. Then we can do a session on that. So the whole time we work together, I'm always watching to see which side you're more inclined to lean towards, and then to lovingly divert you to the area that you need most. But this confidence piece, if you know deep down that it's something that you need to work on, then we can definitely work on that, and it's no problem. There is no level where you work on the confidence piece and it doesn't show up in niggly ways. And you can be a beginner and be at like zero revenue and be super confident. I call that beginner energy confidence. And that's a really beautiful place to be. And you can also have made like 10, 20, 30K in your business and actually be struggling the most with confidence. So confidence and revenue don't always correlate. They're not always cause and effect. And it's really interesting to see how different people at different stages of their business, how it shows up for them in different ways. So whether you're a beginner or whether you've made a bit of money in your business, you're never too successful to work on the confidence piece, because every layer of success and every revenue layer that you meet in your business will require a new level of confidence for you to lean into. And especially if you're just listening to this thinking, Pamela, look, I hands up, admittedly, I'm lacking confidence. And that isn't like a shadow for me. That's just an identity for me. Like I lack confidence and it's something I need to work on. Come work with me ASAP. We 100% need to work on this. So book your consult right this second. Okay, so number 4 is courage. And the reason I put this after confidence is because I do see a little bit of correlation here with courage. And it's a really interesting dynamic. Me and one of my coach besties just over the weekend was saying how confidence, as important as it is, and as much as I just banged on about it in the podcast just now, as important as it is, there is something to be said for taking action regardless of how much confidence you have. Because confidence happens often when you feel good. If you take action confidently, it's because you feel good about taking that action. And what comes with it is therefore confidence. Now, if you're struggling to take action as much as you would like, or at all, then it is possible, even if you have some confidence, what you're going to have to accept is that you're going to need to lean into your courage, because courage doesn't feel good. And if you are willing to accept the fact that you are going to be taking action, even when it doesn't feel good, then what you get as a result of taking courageous action is confidence. Confidence becomes the byproduct of courageous action. And I love this because, don't get me wrong, I am all about elevating your self-concept, your mindset, your energy, your embodiment as a CEO in your business who is ready and willing to take massive action by developing your innate confidence. And I am all about developing you as the CEO who learns how to take action from a place of courage, knowing that that is what creates confidence too. And courageous action can take many forms. Courageous action can be showing up even when every ounce of your body is telling you that you don't have the energy to show up. Now, obviously, there is discernment to be had here. I do not want you to burn yourself out. And a lot of the work I do with my one-to-one clients is helping them find the balance and learning to recognize the signals. But another part of this is that lots of the burnout that you are probably experiencing right now, if we're not yet working together, is because your mindset is at a place where you're telling yourself that you cannot do this, that you don't have the energy, that you're not capable of this, that it should be easier, that if you were there, then if you could do it, you would be there already. If you had it in you, then it would have been happening. If you weren't missing something, that it would work. A lot of this is because you're not willing to take courageous action. And let's just swap out courageous for uncomfortable. Yeah? You're not willing to take uncomfortable action. If you were willing to take uncomfortable action, AKA be courageous in your business, then you would look back in hindsight and go, well, shit, I just did that. Maybe I did have the energy after all. Well, shit, I just showed up and sold anyway. Or maybe I did have the capability after all. Well, shit, I did sell every day for 30 days. And this is what I saw as a result. Yeah, well, maybe I can do that after all. And intrinsically, you start to build this muscle of confidence. It starts to look like consistency. You start to prove to yourself that you are committed to this the whole time. So if all else fails, if you've listened to every part of this podcast so far and you've been thinking to yourself, yeah, but, then what if it was just being courageous that you were missing the whole time? And look, I want you to go try this for yourself. I want you to take this and go, holy shit, like Pamella's kind of blowing my mind right now. I just need to go be willing to take uncomfortable action. Go freaking do that. And then come and book your consults so that we can 10x that. Because I want you to come to me, my favorite clients to work with. And look, I love all my clients equally and in unique ways. Like all of you bring something to me that nourishes me in such beautiful ways, because I only attract clients that work with me because they resonate with me on some level. Sometimes my clients come to me because they have been unable to take action and they know that they need to, and they know I'm going to whip their ass into shape in the best possible way. And I work with a lot of clients who come to me and they go, I did what you told me to, and I'm loving it, but it ain't quite landing the way I'm kind of expecting it to. And that's because you're trying to do this from a freaking podcast. When you're inside the program and I've got my eyes on your business and I can lovingly challenge you on the things that you said you would do, and I can lovingly call you forward to actually lean into these values that I'm speaking about now, that's when things really start to shift. Okay. So I want you to go try this for yourself. And then as you're implementing it and you're seeing it work, and then you recognize either this was amazing, imagine what we can do when we actually work together, or this was a great injection, but now I want this consistently, then imagine what we'll do in 6 months. So book your consult if you're in that bucket. Okay. But this is the courageous action I'm speaking about. Be willing to go there. Be willing to feel that discomfort. And if you're not, then book your consult so that we can make this happen for you. And then lastly is number 5. Now, I've spoken to curiosity in a couple of different ways before, but I don't think I've ever said the word explicitly. So a good episode to go and listen to after this is what to do if you're still not signing clients, and something around business failure. I can't remember exactly what I called that episode, but it was like failing in your business or business failure or something like that. But this is the non-shadow side, so the light side of failure. I want you to be willing to lean into curiosity so much more than you are right now. If you were leaning into curiosity in your business, you would be running with way more ideas than you have. And by the way, I don't mean this to contradict anything that I've said earlier. I'm not saying create brand new offers every 5 minutes. I'm not saying change your pricing. Oh, I'm curious if making it cheaper would make it better or make it easier to sell. If that's what you're thinking, like, spoiler alert, it doesn't, it doesn't make it easier to sell. Pricing and your ability to sell something within reason, because there's obviously mechanics of business that you cannot ignore, but assuming you're working within the mechanics of business, then making something cheaper doesn't make it easier to sell. Ask me how I know. So putting that aside, when you're getting curious about, oh, I wonder how my clients would respond if I said something this way. Oh, I'm curious what would happen if I did do it in this way, if I did explore this option, if I did just run with this idea instead of them gathering dust in your notes apps, or instead of it just being another thing that you think in your head and you spend all day thinking about and you still don't actually execute. I see this happen all the time, thinking all day about your business And when it comes to the end of the day, you actually haven't done anything in your business, or you did it, but you didn't run with it at the level that you could have. I want you to get curious about what would happen if you really went all in. And now I say all in, go check out my first ever episode, Going All In Your Business. That episode to this day continues to get listeners every single week. It was so damn good. My first damn episode. I set the bar pretty high with that episode, I have to say. But your ability to get curious will expand your ability to actually go all in every day in your business. Being all in your business, I think, is so parallel to being curious in your business. And especially in the context of failure, especially in the context of, well, shit, it's been 6 months and nothing's happening. Oh, I've been selling this for 30 days straight and nothing's happening. Instead of going down the failure spiral, instead of going down the self-deprecating, oh, well, I'm just going to go change everything spiral, and then you're starting from scratch every time that you do that, let's be honest. What if you leaned into curiosity? What if you leaned into the energy of, what if I'm just going to love myself no matter what? And I get to look at these things and ask myself, well, if I was to get curious about what's been going on, what comes up for me? So whenever clients come to me, especially at the beginning of our containers, and they're like, look, this is where I'm at. It's not working. I'm not making the money I want. I've been showing up, but it's just not happening for me. I've got a beautiful content program. I've done some beautiful programs. I'm doing all these things. I even did a free workshop. I even did a free challenge. And I'm thinking, yeah, and tell me your curious thoughts about that. Tell me what comes up for you when you challenge yourself about how that went. Tell me, tell me what has you contemplating it at night. Are you contemplating these things at night? Or are you just being angry and disappointed and really harsh with yourself instead of leaning into loving curiosity? The energy is so different. The possibilities that opens up is so different, and the way it impacts not only your results but your enjoyment of your business is so different. And inside my one-to-one, one of the things that I do is I innately teach my clients how to be curious about their results with their evaluations. And if you don't know how to do evaluations, then this is something that you really need to be developing, because allowing yourself to evaluate what's happening every month in your business, at the end of every launch, at the end of every free workshop, at the end of every free container that you're doing, of every kind of inner mini secret 30-day challenge you did to sell every day. If you're not doing any of those things, then God, what are you doing? Let's work together so that you can do those things. But whenever you are doing those things, if you're just ending those things and there's no completion, there's no curiosity, there's no evaluation process with that, and then you're expected just to carry on going, and you're wondering why you're struggling with commitment, why you're struggling with consistency, why you don't feel confident, where the courage isn't coming, it's because you're missing this vital piece and you've not been getting curious about what's been going on in your business. And as a final note, one thing that I see with all of these 5 elements, this commitment, this consistency, this confidence, this courage, and this curiosity, one of the things that I see with my clients who have come from being an employee all their life, who have come from that employee mindset, who come from being conditioned to work for someone else with a prescribed job description where you get paid no matter what at the end of the month or the end of every 2 weeks. You are not necessarily encouraged to do these things because your livelihood isn't really on the line. To a degree, it is. Yes, you get performance reviews. Yes, you're expected to meet certain KPIs, whether they're overtly said to you or whether they are just expected, like inherently expected of you within your job. Everybody has an element of performance that they're expected to achieve, but all of those are extrinsically motivated by your commitment to your employer. Everything I'm speaking about here your commitment, your confidence, your courage, your consistency, your curiosity, all of that is intrinsic. That is a core differentiator with the employee between the employee mindset and your CEO embodiment. And if one of the reasons why you're not making the money and the clients and the impact and the joyfulness of getting to do this soul-led, purpose-led work that you know you're meant to be doing is because you're still in that conditioned mindset of being an employee. And it is sneakily trickling into your business. And when we work together, I help you step into this CEO embodiment where these 5 values are innate to how you operate. Because there is no job description when you have a business. There is no extrinsic motivator. Yes, of course, you're committed to the deliverables of giving your clients what they paid for. That's integrity. That's being a business in integrity that delivers the services that they say they will, that goes above and beyond, that gets their clients brilliant results. But beyond that, your ability to show up, your ability to sell, your ability to just be the person, be the kind of business owner that makes you proud to be the kind of coaching business owner that has your friends and family being like, oh, business seems to be going well. God, I see you everywhere on social media these days. How's the whole business thing going? Bet you're glad you're leaving your 9 to 5 now. Seems like a really good move that you made to go full time into your business. That kind of conversation, they start happening for me now. That's what's been happening as I have really embodied these things. And for my clients who I've been able to just give these things and they've been able just to run with it and go, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed the whole time. They don't have to go through the growing pains that I went through. They get to feel this way from day one. You get to do this even when there's no revenue coming in, because this is what creates the revenue. This is what builds the business. This is, if you're going out there thinking to yourself, oh, my audience is a bit cold. I need to warm my audience. I need to build my audience. I need to build my engagement. I need to get people noticing me. I need to get my magnetic, this is already done. This is it. This is like, I am the one kind of energy. All this stuff that I see people like peddling and selling in their programs, which I love, by the way. The qualities that they're actually speaking about is this. When you can nail these things, the byproduct of that is that you're warming up your audience. The byproduct of that is that your emails start becoming something that your clients look forward to every single day. A byproduct of these qualities is that you start enjoying showing up. That when you see a consult go in, you're like, oh shit, yeah, amazing. I'm so excited for this. But you're not surprised, you're just delighted. When a client says, oh my God, I have literally been thinking about working with you for so long, and I'm so happy I get to finally do this. You're like, yeah, 100%. Like, I know because I created this. I intentionally made it this way. And it gets to feel in alignment. It gets to feel like a gift for you, for them, for everyone involved. It's beautiful. This is what business gets to feel like. And look, I'm going to give you, like, for those of you who are skeptical, because I mean, I am that person. I am a queen of reading between the lines. I am a queen of discerning when someone is just giving me something that feels a little bit too good to be true here. I want to remind you, if you're a little bit like me and you're a little bit of a critic inside and you like to see like, okay, fine, this all sounds very well and good, Pamella. This sounds very sexy. This sounds like everything I ever dreamed of, but what's it really like? Is it really like this every day? Yeah, the truth is that, remember what I said earlier about the consistency piece? The consistency when you're not showing up every single day is because you haven't yet built the capacity to show up every single day. So I'm going to be really candid with you here. If you follow me quite religiously on my emails, on my Instagram, other than the weekend, because you know I take my weekends off, do I show up every single day in the week? No. Do I send an email every single day like I commit to? No. Have I done my podcast every single week like I said I would? No. What does that mean for you? So this is the real talk here, okay? This part is really, really important. Even though there are elements of my consistency that I 100% need to brush up on, and that I am working towards building, and that I am working towards getting better and better and better at every single day, I am always consistent in my message and in my offers. And I am always consistent. And this wasn't a skill that I always had. It's a skill that I've developed, and a skill that I'm very passionate about teaching my clients, because for me, this is trumps everything I've said today. I am consistently kind and compassionate to myself in that process. That when I find my confidence dips, when my shadows get the better of me, when those blocks, those obstacles actually do become obstacles and I don't yet quite find the way, and I find myself going down tiny little paths where I do try and look for ways that I can bypass it, even though eventually I give in and recognize that the obstacle is the way, so I'm going to have to face it head on eventually, and eventually I do. There is a period where that doesn't happen instantly for me always, but it does happen more consistently and more quickly the more that I do it. And sometimes it does happen instantly, and that's amazing. Like, it happens, and as quickly as it happened, I've overcome it. And other times it happens, it takes me a day or two, and then I overcome it. And sometimes it takes me a week or two, and then I overcome it. Inside my one-to-one, I have a group of trainings called the co-creation process. And one of those sub-trainings is a 4-part training called Co-Create with Your Brain. The first step in that training is compassion. That's another C, so that could have been the 6 C's. But the first step in that piece is compassion. And that is one of the things that I wasn't very good at the beginning of this journey. And that kind of links into what I was talking about earlier with the confidence piece. A big part of the failures that I've had in my business, the struggles that I've had in my business, the fact that I haven't got as big as I would like to have got, as quickly as I would like to have got, is because it comes down to how quickly I bounce back into these things, how quickly I recognize when I'm diverting and avoiding instead of the obstacle is the way. And the quicker that I am able to come back and really reconnect to myself, to be compassionate with myself, and to lean into these 5 qualities: the commitment, the consistency, the confidence, the courage, and the curiosity, the quicker I bounce back. But all of that doesn't happen if I don't have compassion for myself. So arguably, that's the bonus one: compassion. Obviously, that's not everything I have to say on it. There's a whole training on compassion, on how to be compassionate with yourself. And I give a really beautiful exercise that I love to do, and I still do to this day. But that for me has been the skill. The quicker I am able to lean into compassion and thereby lean into these 5 qualities that I've just dived into with you, the quicker I'm able to move the needle and take massive action in my business. So here's the final call to action, because this has been a big episode. This has been a really important episode. And I've spoken about so many things. I could have broken this episode up, but I really wanted to give it to you as an in-depth training, because when you can lean into these things, and this is going to be the kind of training that you listen to time and time again, and I will be directing my paid clients to this as well. But my call to action for you is that I want you to run with these things and really look at them and ask yourself, where am I not being committed to my business? where am I not showing commitment to myself and my business? Where am I not showing up consistently? Where am I showing inconsistencies with my values, with my offers, with my messaging? Where am I lacking confidence, and where do I need to work on those things? Where do I need to lean into courage? Where do I already lean into courage? And where can I be leaning into courage more if I'm really honest with myself? Where can I be more courageous in my business? Where can I get curious? And this whole exercise is an exercise in curiosity. So if you do this, then you're already achieving number 5. But if you get to number 5 and you're like, okay, where can I get curious about how I'm showing up for myself, how I'm showing up in my business? Where am I investing in myself? Where am I leaning in? Where am I being the kind of coach that my clients will aspire to be? Am I the kind of person that I would have wanted to hire? Am I walking the walk? And with that self-awareness, either go and implement, go and make these shifts. And if you have that self-trust that you can do that, go and run with it, and then go and update me later and tell me how that's working out for you. I'm excited for you. I know that this can make a massive difference in your business. And if you're also thinking, okay, yes, this is incredible, and frankly, I want you to guide me through this. I want to answer these questions, and if I'm being honest with myself, I'm probably not, but I also recognize that this is the work and this is the next level up. Then come and do that level up with me. Booking your consult is where we explore exactly these things. We explore where you are right now in your business. We explore exactly where you want to get to. And then using my framework of my business fundamentals with CEO embodiment, and obviously today was a very, very embodiment-based episode, we will then discuss how my one-to-one program is going to support you to become the role model for your clients, to become that coach of choice for your clients, to implement the fundamentals that you probably have already done a lot of work on and are already maybe even 95% of the way there. But you're lacking the commitment, consistency, confidence, courage, and curiosity in those things to actually make them work. Let's come and do this work together. So, book your consults if you know that one-to-one is for you. Now, if this is a discussion that you're thinking, okay, yeah, I'm here for the discussion, and one-to-one, I'm not quite ready for one-to-one yet, then come and join the exit plan. The exit plan is an up-and-coming program that I'm releasing at the time of recording in October 2024. And we are going to be talking about this transition going from employment into full-time business ownership as a life coach. We are going to be talking about this transition. I spoke earlier about this employee mindset being accountable extrinsically instead of intrinsically. This is the conversation we're having inside the exit plan. The exit plan is going to be setting you up to go full-time in your coaching business. A big component of that is this very discussion about how to become intrinsically focused and intrinsically motivated and driven as a coaching business owner. Because if you continue to rely on the money making you feel good, the clients validating your worth as a coach, the engagement proving to you that your messaging is working, the algorithm, the click-through rates, the signups, becoming the evidence that you should do this, that you can do this, that you should continue doing this, instead of you being so intrinsically lit up by what you do that you can't help but show up, and recognizing that that's what creates the magnetism and that's what creates people coming to you, then the exit plan is exactly where we actually do the work to do these shifts. If you loved this episode, be inside the exit plan. Of course, if you're a one-to-one client, the exit plan is complimentary. That's a given. So if you don't want to wait to the end of October to do this work, come and join me and book your consult now. The link will be in the show notes for both of those. Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. This was such an important conversation. I know that something has shifted for you today. What I'm really excited about is seeing how that's going to shift how you actually show up in your business. And the best part of this work is that if you're still in a 9 to 5, This is going to change how you show up in your job as well. And I love that for you because your job is lucky to have you. They're lucky to have you for the short amount of time that they get to keep you because you're moving on to bigger things. You're moving on to your coaching business. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It is happening for you. You are going to go full time into your coaching business. And inside the exit plan, we're going to decide exactly when that's going to happen, how that's going to happen, and you're going to be developing the mindset to make that inevitable. Drop me a DM. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this session, from this episode. I want to hear from you. Was it the commitment piece, the consistency piece? Sorry. Was it the commitment piece, the consistency piece, the confidence piece, the courage piece, or the curiosity piece? Let me know which one stood out for you the most. Let me know which one you are going to commit to for the rest of this week. And then go book your consult and or join the exit plan. And if you join the exit plan and you end up working with me one-to-one with any time in October, then the fee for the exit plan will be credited to your one-to-one naturally, of course. It's my pleasure to do so. So go have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next episode.